For our fifth grade lesson, the first thing we're going to do is we will start with our first name, first letter of our last name, and 5 dash class period that you are in. And our rectangle. All right, now to begin with, we're going to use our rulers. And we are going to line up our ruler even with the bottom. Sometimes we're going to do inches and sometimes we're just going to use it as a straight edge. To begin with, we'll use it as a straight edge even with the bottom of our paper. And we're going to make a line that goes straight across, continue, over to the other side. The next thing that we're going to do is we want to find the middle of our paper widthwise. And our paper is 17 inches. So we are going to make our first mark, which is at 8.5 inches. So I have my 8 here, and as I go to my half, in between the 8 and the 9, I'm going to make a little guiding mark for myself right there. Okay, that shows us the halfway point. Now I'm going to turn my paper, my ruler, and I am going to put the very edge, which would be my 0, at the top. I want to make sure that it's even with the edge of the paper, and I'm going to still use my little guiding mark down here. And what I'm going to do is from the top, I'm going to find my way down to the 4 inches. Where I am at the 4 inches, I am going to make my vanishing point, which in perspective, as we've learned throughout our elementary years, is that important point which all lines go back to. Now to begin with, and this is our easy step for us. It won't be as easy for everything, but we can, with this beginning line, we can make the line actually go all the way from our vanishing point with our guiding line all the way forward. Now that's to begin with. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to be making a staircase with this, and this is something that we have not done in our earlier lessons. We're going to hold our ruler right next to our guiding line, and I'm going to use basically the width to make squares. So I'll keep holding my ruler next to the previous line, and I will continue to make my squares. You want to line them up right next to each other. So I've done 4 on this side. Now I'm going to go to the other side where I will also do 4. All right, now with that, we can call that our first layer. Now I'm going to use my ruler. The width of it, just the thickness, as a straight edge. I want to line this up with the first line for my steps. And I'm just going to place it in the middle. Now this line is not going to be exact, so you want to remember throughout all of these, keep your lines extremely light because there will be erasing that goes on. Keep in mind that I will do mine darker and sometimes simply so that you are able to see my example. All right, now this is a guiding line, and this is going to help us to be able to start creating more of our stairs. Now we're going to start using our vanishing point. That's the important thing to remember. And these little lines that we have right here, that's what we're going to connect with. So you can see my vanishing point and my first line. And so I'm going to go up here and connect with that guiding line. And then slide my ruler over. And then I'll make this line come up. Slide my ruler over. And make this line come up. Slide my ruler over and make this line come up. Notice how I did go up all the way with this one, but not with these, because we will be changing our line direction. Now I'm going to the other set of squares, and I will make a line going up here, a line going up here, a line that goes up here, and a line going up here. Okay, so that's our first row of steps. All right, once again, we're going to use our ruler just as a straight edge, and I'm going to line it up. Remember again, some of these are guiding lines, so don't make this too dark. I have this lined up. I'm going to hold it in place. It's always a good rule of thumb to hold it in the middle so it doesn't slide on you when you're making your lines. I'm making my next guiding line. Now, this is where making our steps is just a little bit trickier, because our next row is we're going to go straight up and down, and we're not going to our vanishing point. And so I'm going to start with these little lines, the end of my other stair, and I'm going to make it go straight up and down though. Don't get confused and make it go to your vanishing point. And I'm careful to connect with that little line before. Now I can go to the other side, same process. Connecting with that little line that is before, going straight up. Going straight up. Going straight up. And going straight up. All right, now we're ready to use our straight edge again. Again, carefully coming down to this line and using my ruler and making my guiding line once again. Now this is where we're going to make use of our vanishing point once again. I'm going to hold this up from this point, and then I'm connecting with my vanishing point and make my line come up. Vanishing point, line, and vanishing point. Connecting line and vanishing point. Connecting line and vanishing point. connecting line and vanishing point, connecting line, and connecting line. Alright, so what I like about this project is when we start and we can gradually see our staircase taking shape. Now what we can do next is we're going to go ahead and we are going to go all the way back to our vanishing point. Remember to keep your lines light. Now, when we are adding the art history to our lesson, that's where we might be doing a lot of erasing and overlapping of different objects within the artwork. So keep that in mind. So there I've connected this. And I'm just going to correct that a little bit. Alright, now then I'm going to go back to my vanishing point. Here and here again I'm going back, and again I'm going back. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to go back. So there you can see we're going all the way back to our vanishing point. Now at this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to tidy my picture up. I'm going to get rid of this extra line, and this extra line. Hopefully you've kept your lines light so it's easy for you to get rid of any of those extra marks in your drawing. I'll go to the other side. Get rid of these extra marks. Alright, now we can see that we still have a ways to go back into our picture. And so for this, I actually like to look at going to the side of my picture. And as I see, coming forward, I'm going to actually make my little guidelines on the side to use as a measuring. And to begin with, I'm going to make a little line right around the 1-inch mark, maybe a little bit before, but pretty close by. And then I'm going to go forward, come forward, right about at that 2-inch mark. And then I'm going to go forward and I'm going to come to right about 3 1/4. So I've got 3 guiding marks. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a line. Now here I'm just really want to get my line quite straight. And I can also gauge it by looking at the previous line down here. And I'm going to make a line coming across. And once again, for this one, I'm going to make a line which goes across. Alright, then I can get rid of my little guiding marks once again. Tidy my drawing up just a little bit. And I have got the beginning, the perspective road. That part of my drawing is fairly well completed, besides our checkerboard, which we will talk about at a later date. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use my staircase as a guideline, And this is where I want to make sure that I'm holding my ruler straight. And then to hold it straight with one hand, I'm going to start constructing my walls. So I can make a line coming up. And I'm going to use the width of my ruler to make my other line. And then I'm actually going to curve this like it's almost like a pillar. And I could curve the top. And I could actually even make this a bit shorter if I wanted. It depends. I will be giving you some choices and show you different examples so that everybody has a few different options they could add. Now the other thing then is, of course, my vanishing point. I want to connect that wall to my vanishing point. We've got to make that connection. And then I'm going to go to my other wall. Now this is where we also start getting choices. We have to think about the artist that we're using and what type of pictures we're going to use to illustrate or add our art history component to our picture. So here I'm going to go to this side and I'm going to do part of my other wall or what would be a type of pillar at the side. And I'm again going to check to make sure it's straight, make my line going up. I'm going to make it about the same height as the other one. I'm going to go to the other side, make my other line, and I'm going to try to make it about the same distance from the top as my previous one. A little bit of a rounded edge. Now some of you may prefer a straight edge at that point, which is fine. You got to think too at this point too, with people's houses or different buildings, they're all a little bit different, and that's where we have our architects and designers and home builders that come into play. And there I've added my other wall. Tidy it up again. Now we've got our basic perspective structure here. Since I rounded out this side, I'm going to do this side as well. Now at this point, I can add extra walls going to the side of my picture. I can do it on either side, or I could add walls to both sides. What I'm going to do, so you see a variety, is I'm going to make a wall on this side, but I'm not going to make one on this side. But that's going to be your choice, which you decide you would like to do. Now we're going to actually have, for this, we're thinking about an imaginary vanishing point going off to the side, because this is our 1-point perspective, but if we had a vanishing point going off to the different sides, it would actually be a 3-point perspective lesson. And since I have an imaginary one, it would be off the picture. Now, what I'm going to do is use my imaginary vanishing point, and I'm going to make part of a wall that's connected to my structure. And I'm going to draw this line coming up. I'm going to go down here, and I will make this line coming up. Now then, this is where we get to decide how we're going to add our artistic component to our picture. How do we want to do that? Do I want to add a picture frame out here, which could have the artist's masterpiece in? And with that, we're going to think of it, we can actually follow the guidelines of our wall lines, which would be going according to our perspective. So to begin with, I'm going to make, this is going to be parallel to this line. I'm going to make a line that goes right across, and then I can go down, and I'm going to do the same thing down here, is I'm going to make the line parallel, and I'm estimating what I think it's about the same as the top one. I want to have them about the same distance. Then I'm going to use a vertical line to be able to connect the two. Alright, I'm just going to have to add on a little bit on this side to make it connect. Now then, to make it look like we have a canvas or a picture frame, we want to make a little diagonal line in each of these two corners, and then we're going to repeat this line right here, coming down, and again repeat this line right here, and once again repeat this line right here. And so there I would be free, depending on the artist that you chose, you'd be able to put your picture right here. Now, then we come to the inside, and there's different things we can add on the inside. You can add pictures on the inside, you can add doorways on the inside. I'm going to give an example of how you would do a doorway, since I showed a picture here. And with that, we still have to keep in mind straight lines that are going parallel to other lines I've previously used. And I'm going to start by going straight up. Now then, again, we have our vanishing point. Now this is where we connect with our vanishing point for this doorway. I have the vanishing point. It's going to come straight down to our doorway. And then I'm going to make, now sometimes you feel like you should turn your ruler, but you've got to remember, keeping it going straight up, even if you have lines going in different directions, try to keep it parallel to the edge of your paper. Alright, so I'm going to make this line to make my doorway. Now to make a doorway that I want to make it look like it's actually leading out, I'm going to do a diagonal line right here, and then I'm going to do here a parallel line, and here I'm going to do another parallel line. So now I have a doorway that actually is leading out. And you could, this is a little added extra you could do, is you could make it look like behind this wall you actually have these stairs that go behind here. So I could make my line going out. And if I wanted to make it look like you had some of the same sort of checkerboard style that go behind that, I could repeat this line right here. I would repeat this right here, and you actually could have another step going forward. But as I do this, I think I'm actually going to omit this little step, and I'm going to add inside the doorway. That might make it a little more interesting. And I'll make a step there, and I think I'll make one more line, which goes right, vanishing point, right about there. All right, now, here I have like a doorway going out. Now here, I could actually make another doorway, which goes in the other direction. That's where it gets to be your ideas, your whatever you feel you would want this to be. Or you could make a picture that where you're designing this as a gallery. I think what I'm going to do is make another doorway to show you, but then I will also add another picture inside of this for you to see. So if I wanted another doorway, I want it to be similar to the first one, I would make a line going up, and then I'm going to follow my vanishing point, and I'm going to make a line going towards my vanishing point, and then going to do another vertical line. Again, I need a little diagonal line here. And I need to have parallel line here, parallel line right here, and I could have another doorway going out. And so here, I could actually make it look like we have a little walking way going through. And then I'd connect with my vanishing point once again to make the checkerboard. And again. Alright, so now what you could actually have, you could make the doorways taller, you'd make them shorter, you could make them wider. You could actually add, like, say, a window going up over the top, like if you wanted to do like a half circle. You could make some sort of window that goes up over the top. There's many different things. If you want to repeat that over there, if I wanted to have a window to the side here, I would use my vanishing point once again. And a parallel line, vanishing point, and then I'm going to make my little diagonal and vanishing point, and another vertical line, and I've got a window. Other choices could be you could make another picture frame to decorate. You have different ways. Now this is a basic perspective drawing. It shows a structure with a staircase, and you are now able to design your own, making different changes how you would like to. Some of the basic art elements that we've used, the main ones I should actually say, are line and space within this particular artwork. We will be adding color as well to our drawing and value. So for now, we are going to begin work on our line drawings and our perspectives.